Okay, I'm here with Eve. She's going to share a little bit about her story working with us. She started working with us about 2 years ago, May of 2021. And just to start off, how did you hear about us originally?
I heard about Dr. Jaban through his Instagram, but I didn't actually realize there was a clinic kind of attached to it initially,
Mhm.
and only realized when I spoke to a friend who was at another functional medicine clinic in the UK that I was at the time, and she'd made the switch over to you guys and over to working with Dr. Bronwyn and Dr. Jaban. And so it was after hearing about her experience that I decided to get in touch.
Okay, awesome. And what were some of the things you're experiencing that made you want to reach out to us originally?
So I had severe chronic fatigue, um, severe brain fog. I had all of the functional tests like chemical toxicity, heavy metals, uh, mold, radiation, digestive dysfunction, candida. Um, and I was pretty much bedbound. I think at that point, like I could just about walk up and down the stairs, but I wasn't able to like cook meals for myself. I wasn't able to look after myself. It was really difficult to just do basic things like shower. And things like my mold symptoms were quite severe. I had severe neurological symptoms where if I was exposed to mold, I would experience paralysis. So I would be completely paralyzed. I'd lose my ability to speak. Um, and I would kind of just become like a rag doll. And when I started working with you guys, we already knew that our house was moldy and we were living in an Airbnb and undergoing like a 6 month remediation project. Um, so things were kind of underway, but I was quite sick. I'm not really able to leave the house. I would only really leave the house for medical appointments, and if so, it was using a wheelchair. And I couldn't be in my wheelchair for very long because I didn't have the energy for it. And yeah, I was pretty limited.
Yeah. Okay. And after you started working with us, what was kind of the process there? I know it's been about 2 years. So
Mm,
what did that look like for you? How was your experience going through this process?
um, it's been it's not been linear, which is what everyone says, but it's never linear.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely found that through going through it, like you have to sometimes feel a little worse before you can feel a little better. But often that's a sign that your body is getting rid of things it really needs to let go of. Um, and so I remember a few months in and I had this really big flare and I was thinking like I'm going backwards and I wasn't. I was moving forwards, but sometimes you just have to feel a bit worse to move forwards. Um, but I would say for me, it's been one of those things where things creep along incrementally. I know some people talk about how they do a protocol and they feel like 50% better. And for me, it would be like 5% better with each one, especially with my fatigue. And I think the real deal breaker and the real turning point was about a year ago when Dr. Jamin sent me in the direction of going to regulate my nervous system and doing like the emotional work. Because I always came into healing and trying to heal the root causes, thinking like, okay, there's three root causes, like your environmental stuff, your internal kind of infections and the emotional stuff. I'm the first two. I'm not any of the emotional stuff. Like that's not me. Like I don't have any big trauma. Like that's not my experience. And in going to regulate and learning to regulate my nervous system, which I'm still learning to do now, it's a work in progress. My body started to work with me rather than starting to work against me. And so everything just became so much easier. Um, And so I've been doing, alongside working with you guys, MBSR and Primal Trust for about a year. And for me, it's been that combination that has allowed me to move through the protocols and make the progress I want to make with so much more grace and ease.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, now that you've gone through all of that working with us for a couple of years now, how would you say your symptoms and your life and how you're able to live your life has changed from when you started?
It's been a big change. I mean, I'm still going. We're always healed and healing. So I still have a way to go, but I have just spent 2 months with my parents in southern Spain. And at the beginning of those 2 months, I think I might have used my wheelchair once or twice, but like I haven't used my wheelchair since January now. I've got back in a car and I've started driving again for the first time in 5 years and starting to get my independence back. I got back on a horse and I went horse riding. I can go for like 2-3 hour walks. I even went skiing for a couple of days, which was just incredible. And I think sometimes when you're healing, you can forget why you're doing it. When you've been sick for so long, you forget that there's hope, that it gets better. You forget what living and doing the things you love feels like and looks like, because it's just been so long and your current reality feels so challenging. But I think in being able to do the things that you love again and the things that light you up, it reminds you why you're doing this and like why to keep going as well, because it's so worth it.
Yeah. Well, we're super happy for you and glad that you found us and glad that you can go skiing and ride horses again. That's a huge change from being in a wheelchair all the time. So, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story. Is there anything else you want to add before for the people out there who might be thinking about starting their health journey?
But if you believe that you can do it, then you can do it. That's the single biggest thing that makes a difference. If you, no matter how sick you are, no matter how long you've been sick for, if you believe that you can get well, you can get well.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.